In Texas, observations of a mysterious creature that seemingly combines human and animal features have been occurring for quite some time. One of the most terrifying incidents took place in Amarillo in 1970, when 2 police officers and 2 service dogs perished during a confrontation with an unknown monster. Texan folklore is rich in stories about bizarre and often dangerous creatures. Recently, there has been a heightened interest in legends surrounding the Dog Man, a peculiar werewolf-like being documented in various locations throughout Texas. This entity was captured in a recently published photograph taken by a security camera positioned at the fence of a zoo in Amarillo in May of 2022. In 1970, a dramatic encounter occurred in Amarillo between the local residents and the local police on one side, and a mysterious creature on the other. This event is documented by the contemporary American researcher in the field of paranormal phenomena, Albert S. Rosales, in his book series titled Encounters with Humanoids. According to a witness whose testimony Rosales relies on, a ferocious entity that combined human features with those of a dog attacked an isolated farm. During the attempt to neutralize this creature, 2 police officers were killed, and 2 service dogs were literally skinned alive by the monster. The nature of the threat they faced at that time remains a question. The witness, in their account, states that in 1970, they moved with their family to a ranch surrounded by desolate landscapes and only a minimal amount of vegetation. During the first few days after their arrival, nothing unusual happened. But the situation took a sudden turn when they discovered a wolf den near their home. The following day, dead adult wolves were found, and their offspring had disappeared. The wolf carcasses appeared as if something enormous had torn them apart, with menacingly large claws. The following night, the witness's grandfather had a terrifying nightmare that jolted him awake. When he went outside in front of the house to get some fresh air, he saw a large, strange humanoid figure with glowing red eyes that observed him from the darkness. At that moment, the witness's cousin Ray and his family were already en route to the ranch, as the witness's great-grandmother had sent them based on a sinister premonition. When Ray stepped out of the car near the house, he witnessed the same entity. The rest of the family fled to safety, and Ray fired several unsuccessful shots at the mysterious being. At that moment, the entire ranch's inhabitants were on edge, fearfully observing the humanoid creature standing far off in the darkness. During that night, everyone managed to escape from the house in one of the cars. The following morning, the family returned to the ranch to gather their belongings and decided to quickly move away from there. To their horror, the house was already surrounded by the police and men in military uniforms. The first floor of the house had been completely demolished, and the cause of this damage remained unclear. A police unit with service dogs also arrived at the scene, and they reported that the second floor of the house was entirely destroyed. The dogs reacted to something near the door leading to the attic. The officers opened the door and released the dogs upstairs, and sounds suggesting a struggle followed. Suddenly, the dogs were thrown out of the attic window as if they were lifeless dolls. Both dogs were skinned alive. 2 police officers decided to investigate the situation in the attic, and when they went up, several gunshots were heard. The creature also threw one of the officers out of the window, and he was dead before he even hit the ground. Albert S. Rosales suggests that the unknown entity must have possessed supernatural strength. What exactly killed the officer and his dogs remains a question. The cluster of people who had gathered at the ranch finally spotted the creature on the attic in the clear daylight, when it briefly showed itself in the window. This entity resembled a massive hairless man with blue skin, red eyes, and menacingly sharp claws. One of the soldiers issued an order to neutralize this enigmatic being, and everyone who had firearms began unbridled gunfire. The ranch soon resembled a sieve with numerous bullet holes. Ultimately, the entire house was brought down by 2 grenades thrown through the shattered attic window. The ranch was destroyed to its foundation, but the only body found amid the wreckage belonged to the second of the police officers. Traces leading away from the house suggested that the dog man had managed to escape. It remains a question whether it still lurks somewhere in the Texan desert regions to this day. That's all from us for today. If you're interested in videos filled with mysterious mysteries, dark stories, legends, or monsters, and you crave more, subscribe to our channel so you won't miss any new videos.